It's a pleasant morning to talk sports right here on ASO Television. Good morning and the finals of welcome to ASO Sports. I am Monday Thomas. It is still international window and every day feels like a match day. Of course, it is match day for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Their second match day in 4 days as they will be looking on to take the Eagles of Mali. We're going to take a look at that particular one in depthly, and of course that's not going to be the entirety of our show because we have updates from the camp of the Super Falcons as they are preparing for that very massive clash against the Banyana of South Africa. It all concerns the Olympic qualifiers. So the latest reports, Coach Wendy Waldrum has invited 22 players for that particular showdown. Until on the show, we're going to talk about the latest inductee to the Premier League Hall of Fame. I won't be doing this alone today. Joining me is the considerable help of my friend and of course my partner once again. I'm actually great to have you.
Good morning, of course. Another day to be.
And of course, today by 9 p.m. Nigerian time, we'll get to see the Super Eagles. Finidi George's second test. Yes, we can call it a test because he is looking to, of course, be the favorite to become the new permanent head coach of the Super Eagles. But so far, so good. He's doing not so bad as an interim manager after that very fine 2-1 win against the Black Stars of Ghana. Today, he takes on the Eagles of Mali. So the game today is between the third-ranked African nation versus the eighth-ranked African nation. They are powerhouse as far as African football is concerned, and later on they are going to slug it down. But on the show, we'll certainly take a look at some names that might not feature in that particular game, but Asha, it is international, of course, international window, and it is a time where some people don't watch football because some people feel like international window is always very boring. Here is a Tuesday teaser. I'll kind of appreciate if the Tuesday teaser comes up, and the question is directly to Amarachi. And for people who can also answer this question, would you want to see your country win the World Cup or your favorite club win a league or maybe possibly a Champions League? Because I mean, people don't watch international football. I know many people who don't watch international football. Are you a part of them?
I think international football.
Welcome. This is straight to the persons who feel that international football is always boring. I mean, watching your country play should be a thing of pride. And of course, we are very prideful, and hopefully the Super Eagles will solidify that pride against the Eagles of Mali later on. According to the latest report, Calvin Bassey and Frank Onyeka have returned to their respective clubs in England, and that is Fulham and Brentford respectively. And we have young stars likes of Tanimu, Benjamin, and some players who are yet to play for the Super Eagles, especially in this friendlies. The likes of Fisaya Della Bashiru, the likes of Ojo Loreleke, the likes of Nathan Teller, who is a key man for the leaders in the German Bundesliga, and that is the Bayern Leverkusen. So Coach Finidi George has promised that he's not going to overload this player, so we are expecting new names. Who would you like to see in goals? Would you like to see the forgotten Francis Ozor? I mean, I don't know how this will come off on some people, but in my personal opinion, I think he's forgotten. And would you like to see him, or would you like to see Ojo Loreleke? Because every time I think of Francis Ozor, I think he's still got that class. He's still got that ability to become a great goalkeeper, because I remember that night at the Old Trafford. I don't know if you can remember that night. He was amazing. He was a Superman that day, but of course they ended up losing. I mean, being on the losing side and being the man of the match at the Old Trafford is something very remarkable. Let's talk about the goalies today. Just like we heard, Finidi George would be looking to try new names. Who would you want to see in goal today? On the invitation based on personal issues and of course some injury issues. Now we have two players who won't be available, two key players, Frank Onyeka and Calvin Bassey. We are not playing against a pushover team. We are playing against the 8th-ranked African nation. We are playing against a side that finished in the knockout stage of the just concluded 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. I'm talking about the Eagles of Mali. We're already playing with a depleted team, and the coach would fill in possibly new names. What if this goes south? what if him playing the new names and also us having injury problems in the list goes south and Nigeria loses that game? What do you think would be the opinions of Nigerians? But first of all, I would like to get your take first off. If Finidi George loses to Mali after beating Ghana, what would you think?
Yes, across Monday.
All right, you've said a whole lot about the confidence of Nigeria. Also, would be coming from the fact that we are of course a team that our players, most of our players are playing internationally. The likes of Asisha Oshoala, who plays in the United States of America. She was an integral part in Barcelona's Champions League triumph last season. She's spent most of our time in top clubs, and of course, she is the 6-time African Women's Footballer of the Year, the record-breaking lady right there. So, are you trying to say that one with this kind of team is a majority likes of Rashida Jibade, who they are not just playing in international leagues, but they are playing consistently? Can our confidence come from the fact that we have very good players?
Consistency is one of the things that builds up a player's fitness.
All right. We sometimes, or most times as Nigerians, we need to pray for, because the battle ahead is definitely going to be very, very feisty. All right, it's time for us to go for a breather, and let's have a feel of what happened at the closing ceremony of the 13th African Games. It was very lively as we saw the Ghanaian superstar Stonebwoy perform. And you are still watching ASO Sports right here on ASO Television. We are live on DSTV at channel 392 and also live on radio at the frequency 93.5. I remain Monty Thomas, and we are still slicing and dicing all the most interesting sports stories. And right now, let's go international. Yesterday, we heard the verdict of the court from the Court of Spain. The international ex-football star Daniel Alves, who was granted bail conditionally after he paid a bail of €1 million. Do not forget that he was found guilty for sexually assaulting a woman in December 2022 in Barcelona. Well, yesterday, we can't say that he is free at last, because this one is depending on the appeal court case that will be coming up in a date that we are yet to find out. Dani Alves played for Barcelona. He won many trophies as a player, 3 UEFA Champions League, many league titles for clubs like the likes of Juve and as well as Sevilla. But yesterday, this particular news was taking the old social media to, of course, have a thing or two. I mean, it's a time where Brazilians are found guilty for sexually assaulting women, and in this particular case, Dani Alves has come out to say that whatever he had with that lady in Barcelona was consensual. I'd like to get a thing, your take on this particular one, Amarati. I mean, he's now granted bail. According to reports, his passport is confiscated, so he's not completely a free man. He's just free to breathe fresh air, possibly go out and have fun, but now he can't travel out of Spain, and they are waiting the final jurisdiction of the second case, which is going to be held in the appeal court still in Spain. But now he was granted bail conditionally, released conditionally from prison after paying a €1 million bail. What's your take on this?
Of course, until he is eventually certified to not be guilty or proven not to be guilty of that charge, he's still...
We'll kind of like appreciate if the video rolls back. There is one particular player who is with Dani Alves at the end of that particular video. That's him walking off the Brian Stew prison, which is 45 minutes away from Barcelona, with his attorney. And there's something interesting in this video, and I just want us to wait for that particular one. It's very funny. Yes, here it is. He is with Memphis Depay, and according to the report, they've alleged that Memphis Depay was the one who paid for the 1 million euros bail, and it's looking very like, although it's not confirmed, but it's very likely because in his days at Barcelona, returning to Barcelona, his second spell for Barcelona, he was very close to Memphis Depay. Do not forget that at the age of 40, Dani Alves played at the Qatar 2022 World Cup. He has played for some really bona fide European top teams, the likes of PSG, Juventus, Sevilla, and as well as Barcelona, where he made his name as a footballer. Now let's get to talk still international football. This time around, we are going to take a look at the new inductee into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Played for Arsenal but made his name for Chelsea, where he won 3 league titles and of course playing 385 games. His name is Ashley Cole, and let's get to see let's get to hear what some legends of the Premier League had to say about Ashley Cole as he's been inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame.
He will be recognized.
Ashley Cole, the 22nd player or manager to be inducted to the Premier League Hall of Fame. 385 appearances in the Premier League, 41 assists and 3 titles. Of course, the player that was said to be the man that will strike balance in terms of positional awareness and tactical display. Congratulations to Ashley Cole. We're still talking about Ashley Cole Amarachi, and we saw how brilliant he was as a left back in terms of crosses, in terms of defending. He was a complete left back. Which current left back in the world right now would you currently rate as high as Ashley Cole? Jermaine Defoe, Michael Carrick, and even one of Arsenal's legend, Sol Campbell. But once again, congratulations to Ashley Cole. Who else are we saying congratulations to? It's time for us to talk Formula One, and I've got to start by saying congratulations to the current Grand Prix champion of the Australian Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz. We did not do justice to this particular one as we are looking to talk about Lewis Hamilton, but first of all, let's congratulate this man. 2 weeks ago, he was undergoing an appendix surgery, and now he is the current champion of the Australian Open. That could change when they head to Japan, but right now we need to celebrate him. But here is a man who was celebrated 7 times in the world as far as World Championship is concerned, still in the Formula One. Let's talk about Lewis Hamilton. He has described the first 3 games of the first 3 races of 2024 as the worst start he has had in his career. It's time for us to hear from Lewis Hamilton. He actually retired from the Australian Open, 17 lapses to go to that in particular race. And now let's get to hear as he explains his ordeal so far in 2024.
Hey Lewis, well, you gave it a go at the soft.
A real struggle for the 39-year-old Briton who formerly was the world champion, but so far in 2024, his best finish at the Grand Prix was 7th position at the Bahrain Open. Next up is the Japan Grand Prix in Suzuka. But right now, let's talk about Carlos Sainz. Let's do justice to this young Spanish man who drives for Ferrari. Yes, he was on the podium from the hospital bed now to the podium. What does this story tell you, Amarachi?
Of course, looking at the first 3 races, Max Verstappen and of course Lewis Hamilton to see if they can get their feet back in the next Grand Prix.
All right, the next Grand Prix comes our way in Japan, and let's of course count down for that particular one. Still talking other sports, we are seeing a masterpiece in Miami. The double sunshines right there, and Carlos Alcaraz is still doing what he knows how to do best. He was in charge yesterday in 2 straight sets as he defeats the stylish Gael Monfils in that particular one to progress to the round of 16. He is slated to take on Italian Lorenzo Musetti in the round of 16. And other result, of course, Coco Gauff, who was through to the round of 16, was knocked out by Caroline Garcia in 2-1. And the only American remaining in Miami Open in the females category is Emma Navarro. Still in America, let's just move to other sports, and that has to be the NBA, as we're counting down 24 days to go to the NBA playoffs, and things are getting really intensified. We saw 22 teams in action and 11 winners, and of course one of the winners were Denver Nuggets with 29 points from Nikola Jokic, as they were able to get on to defeat Grizzlies by 128 to 103. We also saw a game in Dallas, where of course Dallas Mavericks dominated that game and won it, with the likes of Nikola Jokic doing greatly. Dallas Mavericks beat Jazz by 115 to 105. The Kings were the champions in the city of brotherly love, where they beat Philadelphia Sixers 108 to 96, and we also saw Indiana Pacers, who of course were victorious against LA Clippers 113 to 116. Domantas Sabonis on your screens right now. He was the key man for the Kings as they dominated in the city of brotherly love. As we look to wrap things up, let's remind you that Nigeria take on Mali later on today by 9 p.m. Nigerian time, and also we'll be seeing other actions in the international week as we are looking to wrap things up. And of course, up next from the Nigerian point of view is going to be some NPFL action, and for the fans who eagerly are waiting for the resumption of club football, we are also waiting for that as well. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, Marachi.
Of course, it's a pleasure being here, and then hopefully to return back at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, definitely return by 10 a.m. with more sporting action, and possibly you'll get to congratulate either of Lorenzo Musetti or Kaitos Akers as it concerns the Miami Open. I remain Monday Thomas, and see you later for something greater.